Alright, got the old 1969 Ford 4000 out, and we are ready to start preparations for hay. It is now June 4th and we are ready to cut hay this year. It's a little windy out here, but we've got 9 acres of hay field. The hay fields wrap around the side there, and around the corner it opens way up out there. So we got a big field out that way also. A lot of alfalfa, some timothy, some orchard grasses maybe, and fescue, some clovers, all mixed together out here. It makes real good hay. And so we are ready. It's definitely tall enough. I actually could have cut it probably about a week or two ago, but the weather has not cooperated. So it's time for us to get ready. So before we get started with hay season, this is when our tractor gets the most use. It's put to the test out here in the fields for hours and hours and hours. This thing runs out there at high throttle, and we want to make sure it's got fresh oil in it. We want to make sure that all the fluids are topped off. We want to make sure that we get all of our zerts found and greased up here. Check our oil filter. We want to make sure it's got nice fresh fuel in it, and everything is good to go and ready to go for the rest of the hay season. So we're gonna get the oil change today and go through a few other checks, get them fuel topped off in it, and then we'll get our equipment hooked up and test it out, our sickle bar, and we'll go with our first phase of hay, which will be cutting, and we'll get that done today. So this thing leaks a little bit of power steering fluid. I'm not sure exactly where it leaks from, but it definitely leaks, and it's definitely low. So the farmer I bought this from told me that it leaked, and he said just add some now and then. That was his advice. So we've got some kind of universal steering fluid here. We'll see if I can get it in without spilling it all over. And his instructions were, yeah, fill it up till it's about halfway. I don't know. All right, I can start to see it coming up in there, so that's probably good. One of the first things I noticed when I moved out here to this property and started doing things like this was that it didn't seem like any of the tools I had were big enough. So keep your eyes on garage sales if you're looking to do this kind of stuff, because that's where you're gonna find all your old tools for farm sales and things like that. And this adjustable wrench has been my savior. Again, there's gonna be I'll have lots of Amazon links for you guys today, but this is a rigid adjustable wrench. It's got the markings of what size it is, so a lot of times I'll use, like, I can measure this drain plug here. I can say, all right, this is a 1.5 inches or 1.25 inches, so it'll tell me right here what it is. And so I know I need to look for an 1.25 inch socket or an 1.25 inch wrench. This tractor's got a lot of really big bolts on it, so it's just something I need to look around for. So I am a oil saver. I never take any to the recycling place. I always save it all. I've got a whole stash of these 5-quart jugs in the barn here full of used motor oil. I use it for all kinds of things, but hopefully this year in the greenhouse we'll be setting up a waste oil burning stove that I can help supplement that heat for the greenhouse. So I'll be using it for that, but I'll show you I use it for other things here also. So another Amazon item is this oil filter thing. I bought this about 1.5 years ago, and man, is this great. No more specialized oil filter wrenches or anything like that. This one is kind of universal, and it has some gears in it where you just set this up with your socket wrench, and as you tighten, it spins in and gets smaller, and it grabs that oil filter of any size and starts to spin it off for you. So this thing has worked really well, and I'll put a link in this. I'll put a link to this in the description also. This air filter, probably it's time to get a new one. But I'll take it up and just blow it out with the air compressor for right now, and we'll go from there. All right, just some compressed air for today. I don't like washing these filters, getting them wet before I'm going to use it, so I may, after cutting here, give this a good wash and let it dry out in the sun. Make sure it's nice and dry. But I need to get a new one of those for sure. So we'll put that on the list and order that on Amazon. So one of the things I use the used motor oil for is I bought this little oil can on Amazon, of course. I'll put a link in the description, but this is built in the USA. It's just a little squirter, has a nice little pump in it, finger action, and it's got an adjustable flexible spout on it. And so I can use this to just oil up things that don't have grease zerks. I like to keep oil on everything that I can so things don't rust. I'm fine with things being greasy. I just fill this up with used motor oil, so that's one of the things I just use this for. I fill it up whenever it needs it, and just go around and squirt some oil on all the moving, or all the pins, all the little joints and things like that, on the power steering stuff, on all the 3-point stuff. And we just get some oil on those things so they don't rust together. And when I go to take things apart, everything comes apart nice and easy for me. So once I got all the drop oil places done, I go around and look for all my grease zerks, and we'll go ahead and give these a nice couple squirts of grease here. So one of the things that I have loved about this tractor is that it has a low and a high gear system in the transmission. So the low gear is generally what I call the field gears. This is what I'm using when I'm doing work around the house or out in the field doing hay. And then it's got road gears, which I can switch this lower lever right here down, and it'll access the 4 high gears here. It actually has a faster reverse and then 4 forward gears, so you can get going pretty good on the road. So instead of going to get gas in little gas cans and coming home, I'm just going to drive this down about a mile to the gas station. We'll fill it up right there. All right, we made it back. Took a few minutes, about 20 minutes back and forth, not bad. All right, well, here we are. We are ready to get things set up and adjusted and hooked back up from storage. I greased everything up and oiled everything real well before I put it in the barn last year, so it should be pretty much ready to go. But this is a Massey Ferguson 70-something model Sickle bar, and I think was an early joke of farm equipment manufacturers as a way to cut grass or hay. This thing is a loud, vibrating monster of a machine, and it's just something else. But it's what I could afford to get hay done, so this is what we have. Well, hay season has officially begun here. This is one of my favorite things about this property and about just this whole, lifestyle that we're trying to embrace here and grow on the farm. Is doing hay. It's just brings back a lot of memories. I did hay as a kid, stacked and baled for local farmers, and it was a lot of hard work, and I hated it then. But now that I get to do the whole thing, I like it. I get to run the equipment and stuff, so a lot of fun. But we'll have a lot of videos on baling, and I probably won't do too much further on raking and stuff like that. Later in the year, I plan on doing a start to finish how to make hay. That'll go through a lot more details on what we're doing here. For those of you who are looking to get into this kind of thing, or move out and do homesteading, or getting equipment and barns and livestock and other things like that, garage sales and resale shops are going to be the absolute best place to just start looking. Before you even get here, you're going to need extra tools, you're going to need extra wrenches and socket wrenches and grease guns and parts and bolts and nuts, and old farmers and people going out of whatever, people retire, people getting out of farming, look for those barn sales and stuff like that. Buy that stuff up, because you can never have too many spare parts and spare hardware and all that kind of stuff. So just one thing I can't stress enough, I wasn't ready and prepared for all of the mechanical work that I needed to do out here and all the tools I would need. And so I still don't have what I need, and just little by little I get those things, and I use adjustable wrenches instead of other things. Reach down and tap that thumbs up button, guys, if you enjoyed the video today. Subscribe if you want to follow along, and make sure you hit that little bell next to the subscribe button so you get notified when we post new videos. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. Have a good one.